car and chuck it at you. But at this point, I'll call up Brandon Lomax to go ahead and lead us in prayer.
Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you that you are in control of all things, great and small. We thank you that even in the midst of this meeting, Lord, you are here. And we ask that you would cover us, Lord, guide us, direct us in conversation and in the meeting, that we continue to put our best foot forward in minds and creative ideas for your kingdom and to your purpose, and to accomplish great works that bless others around us, our neighbors, and all those around us. And we just thank you for what you do. Bless the food here we ate today. And we're thankful for all these things. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
You'll join me in the pledge, please. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Tony, you might be on backup today. Actually, Don Klein is the closest, so Don.
Fitzgerald, who's on concert.
Welcome, Tom. And for what club? All right, welcome, Tom. Tom's got a program for cards today. We look forward to that in a little bit. Visitors with Rotarians. Heather?
I've got Fidelity Bank, Amanda Walls, and Cindy McIntyre, prospective members.
Well.
I've got Heather Egan. She is the Chief Philanthropy Officer for the Washington Hall Foundation, the Greater Winston-Salem area.
I have William Rainey here with me. He is the owner of First Impressions Barbershop in downtown Thomasville, so downtown business owner.
Awesome. Christy Aguilar has been approved by the board. She will be installed as a new member soon. No other guests. At this time, I'm going to open it up for announcements. I've got a few just to bring. I am not Mary Jane, in case you are wondering if you're a visitor today. I am acting as Mary Jane. Her granddaughter has some health issues in Raleigh, so she was spending some time with her. She is home now. Her granddaughter's home now. So prayers for her. She's doing well on some breathing treatments, but doing good. She did send a message between Rotary's sponsorship and hers. There's 3 tickets to Tommy's Roast for the Life Center. That's on March 23rd. And then there's 6 tickets to the CIS Gala on March 9th. So those are available to club members today. So if you're interested either in 3 tickets or one of the 3 tickets to Tommy's Roast or to the CIS Gala, shoot Mary Jane a message and let her know, please. All right. Doc, I know you had something.
Well, I just want to mention about Tom's Roast. It's for the Life Center of Davidson County, which they do a wonderful work for adult daycare. for the first time, it's gonna be in Thomasville, here at the Women's Club. It is on March 23rd. It's a fundraiser. Tickets are $100, but that includes cocktail hour, dinner. I'm gonna roast him, I think Laura is, and he's gonna have roast and toast, but Tom is deserving, I hope some people will attend. Thanks.
Awesome, thank you. Other announcements? Everybody's just afraid to say something today? Okay. We do need some people to help with the cook program on Saturday, March 2nd from 9:30 to noon at the Central Rec Building. So again, Mary Jane's listed on that. If you're able to help, that's such a cool opportunity from last year that they're continuing to do. I know we've got that coming up. Also, several things, CIS program for their gala, as well as Habitat's gala coming up. A lot of cool events, so check the bulletin for that. And then I do want to mention we've got a Rotarian who's got a birthday today. Anybody want to take a guess besides that person?
Joe Hitchcock.
Joe Hitchcock! It is Joe's birthday, so happy birthday, Joe. Glad to have you. No other announcements? Awesome. Okay. All right, flip the pot. Dana, you can come right back up. I have verified she is in there somewhere. So there's, what, 10 cards left now? 10 cards.
$5,194.
Heather is about to like jump out of her seat. You can see Heather sitting over there. She's like a lady at bingo ready to strike. Alright. Oh, Nancy, good.
All right, the last three are 620.
Fitzgerald is going to talk to us about
We're talking about wandering out there.
Tom has over 50 years' experience in various sales and executive management positions. 20 years has been in the digital technology industry, and 12 years of that time in senior executive positions. Tom's career started in 1995 as a charter member of the Greensboro Airport Rotary. He had perfect attendance for his 8 years in the club. He joined the Rotary Club of Cartersville in 2003 and served as the secretary for 5 years. He was asked to be president-elect for 2006 and declined as he was serving as the director of the board of Cartersville Chamber of Commerce. Tom now has perfect attendance in both clubs for a total of 29 years of attendance. In 2017, he asked District Governor Martin King where the current province where since his mother-in-law had suffered Alzheimer's disease for 15 years. The last part of which were in memory carriers of nursing homes. Arnold stated that they had no one to run the program, and Tom volunteered to chair the CART program. He was instrumental in the development of coin boxes placed in local convenience stores and locally owned restaurants, which resulted in dramatic increase in the donation for the club. Give a warm welcome to Tom Fitzgerald.
I'm going to go affordable. More comfortable, I think, than good job. As he said, I've been a Rotarian. I'm in my 30th year and I have perfect consecutive attendance. All of us in the room remember when you had to have 70%. Otherwise you went on probation, raise your hand. And there's a few of us in there that no longer days. About my Rotary career, I was a charter member of the Airport Club in 95, served as president in 98. Stopped working for the man in 2003. And since I opened my own business out of my home in Kernersville, I transferred to the Kernersville Club and been there ever since. Served as secretary for 7 years, trained my replacement. And then again, they asked me to be president, I was chairman of the chamber that year. He quit his job and those two couldn't do it. So, that was my Rotary career. Let me tell you a little bit about my experience with Alzheimer's. In 1992, my father passed away. He lived in Bristol, Connecticut, where I grew up. So I've been down here since 77. I was recruited down here because I'm an electrical engineer, and I was working in textile designing automated equipment. So on a trip back up there in 95, after my father passed away, his older sister Mary was in a nursing home with what they called senility in those days, before they used the word Alzheimer's. So I took my two younger brothers, Mike and Pat, with me, and we went over to see Aunt Mary. I want you to picture this. This was end-stage Alzheimer's. Hope I never see it again. They had her in a sling chair, head up on one side, feet on the other, thrashing her arms, kicking her feet, and foaming at the mouth. This is just before the brain stops telling the lungs to breathe and the heart to beat. But no matter where they are in their journey into that disease, there's moments of lucidity. So I tapped her on the shoulder, and I said, Aunt Mary, how you doing? Well, she stopped thrashing and kicking, opened her eyes, and looked at me, and she went like this. She thought I was my father, because I looked like it. For a second later, thrashing and doing it again. How many people in this room have personal experience with Alzheimer's? Yeah, that's a pretty good representation, about 40% of people in this room. 6.5 million people are going to have Alzheimer's this year in the United States. That's not worldwide, that's just our country. But you got to multiply that by a factor of 10 for the amount of people affected by Alzheimer's. So that's 65 million people. Projected to grow by 2050 to 15 million people. You can do the math. Reality is, Alzheimer's, as it goes through its stages, is much harder on family and caregivers than it is on the victim, because they eventually lose knowledge of what's going on with them. So I thought I was done with Alzheimer's after seeing my Aunt Mary a week before she passed away. Not so. 1999, my mother-in-law started showing early signs of dementia. One of which is her husband would humor her because she was getting forgetful. And every week they would go to Walmart and she'd buy 15, 20 rolls of toilet paper. So you can imagine the guest bathroom was sitting the floor with toilet paper. Well, he passed away about a year and a half after she was diagnosed with Alzheimer's. And the whole family didn't have to buy toilet paper for a couple of years. But we distributed among the three sisters. But after he died, she, at this point, was in stage 2. Now, they still know who they are, but it's progressive. It doesn't stop. So we couldn't leave her out in Valdez. Anyone know where Valdez is in North Carolina? Okay. You know where it is? That's where they lived. And so we had to bring her back to Kernersville to live with us. And since I owned my own business and worked on a home, I was a caretaker for 6 months. Why for 6 months? They were indigent. The two of them worked for Drexel Furniture, and I don't think between the two of them, they were made over $20,000 a year. But they didn't have a whole lot of assets. And if you're going to get into a facility that accepts Medicaid, then you have to put them in a facility that once they spend down their assets, converts to Medicaid. You can't go to a facility that might spend down and say, well, that's it, you're out. And you have to find that place before you put them there. Because otherwise the federal government can put them wherever they want. It could be 200 or 300 miles away. So for 6 months, my wife went around finding a place to put mine. I found a place in Winston-Salem, which at one point
if they're in a nursing home and they fall, and a staff member doesn't see them fall and verify they didn't hit their head, they gotta go to the emergency room. So my wife troops off to the emergency room 17 times, 3 to 4 hours each time. So just before Memorial Day in May 1 year, went down to our beach house on a Thursday at Ocean Isle. So that's a 3-hour, 45-minute ride. We got down there, unpacking, nursing home calls. Your mom fell. My wife says, we need to turn around and come back. No, we saw her fall. She didn't hit her head. You're fine. Okay, we'll be back in town on Monday. Monday morning, we're backing up to go home. The phone rings. Forsyth Memorial Hospital. When you come to get your mom. My wife says, excuse me? She's been here since last Thursday. Well, why don't you take her back to the nursing home? We can't, they gave away her bed. Now, I don't know, I'm not going to mention the name of this outfit, but about 3 years ago, 2 of the staff members inquired 2 elderly female dementia patients to get in a fist fight, videotaped it with their phone and put it up on YouTube. So now we got to find a place for mine. Can't stay in the hospital forever. So my wife found a delightful facility up in King called Rose Tower that specializes in memory care. And for the last 1.5 years that she lived, didn't fall once. Great care. So that's how I got involved in this. So that, about 9 years ago, as District Governor Harlan King, who was a member of Thomasville Rotary Club and was a treasurer, I asked him at a meeting one day, I said, where are the cart buckets? He said, well, they're in my office. I said, well, they don't do any good there. He said, well, I don't have anybody to run the program. I said, I will run the program. So I took it up. Now, I put these buckets out every week, 20 buckets within 91 minutes. The first year we raised $1,008. Woo! So I figured, you know, Alzheimer's doesn't care whether you're a Rotarian or a Lions Club member or TAB, American Legion, it doesn't care. Black, white, Hispanic, it doesn't care. It doesn't discriminate. And I had seen these coin boxes for different things around town, Lions Club, stuff like that. I said, why couldn't CART do that? So I called the district chair to see if I could get permission. Never heard from him. Called the national president at the time of CART. Never heard from him. So being a damn Yankee, I said, I'm going to ask forgiveness instead of permission. So I went online, bought 6 coin boxes for $20 a piece. Went and found 6 local restaurants and convenience stores. Put them out. The first month, I went around and collected money. We raised over $300 out of the coin boxes. Okay, now I'm onto something here. So I went to the board meeting the next month and I told them what I had done. And I asked the Rotary Club of Kernersville to buy 14 more boxes. So the treasurer said, after you do that, we'll take it out of the proceeds. I said, nope, can't do that. The charter of CART requires that 100% of donated funds goes to research. Now the penny goes to overhead. There's a parallel organization called TRAC, CART spelled backwards, that raises money for administrative expenses. Plus, we asked our treasurers that work with us, with CART in the district, once a quarter to transfer money on the portal, mycartfund.org. Any Rotarian can go to that site, put in your DAC-DB login, and it recognizes you as a member of the Thomasville Rotary Club. The treasurer can make a club donation and just transfer through EFT funds to CART. There's over 500 clubs in the nation doing that. We take that money, invest it, and the appreciation off that, which covers expenses. And we have some pretty heavy expenses. We're linked to that DB. Anybody have an idea what that costs? $16,000 per month. Yeah, and we have to cover that. So none of us that work in the organization are paid. We're all volunteer. We don't get reimbursed for gasoline or supplies or anything else. Now luckily my club does subsidize some of my expenses, and that's a great thing. A few years ago,
cart share. I said, so tell me, how do you do your cart thing in this club? He said, we found that if we put the buckets out once a month instead of every week, we do better. I said, really? Why is that? He said, we have a different cart champion. We have enough members that have experience with Alzheimer's that we can have 12 different cart champions every year. Now, the first meeting of each month, we put the buckets out, and the cart champion comes up and gives a little talk about Alzheimer's and makes a donation into the bucket. I said, well, how are you doing with that? He said, oh, we have about $400 a month. I was a whole lot better. We were going to put them out every week and get 18 buckets back out of 20, right? So I said, I'm not stupid. I'll steal that idea. You know what happened? We tripled what was going in the buckets each month by going to once a month. So Joseph, there's an idea for you. Because we all know that speakers that come to Rotary clubs always want to get in your pocket, right? 30 years as a Rotary, I know where. I don't give this presentation just to Rotary clubs. I've done Lions clubs, Kiwanis clubs, Citizen clubs, American Legion, DAB, DFW. So I'm available to any of those organizations to give this presentation. Now we're going to start with the pre-can stuff, okay? Let's see if this thing will work today. So, we were founded, okay, that just didn't do right. Okay, 1995, a Roger Ackerman. He was a member of the Sumter Rotary Club in Sumter, South Carolina, and his wife was suffering with Alzheimer's. So one day he was at lunch with a fellow Rotarian, and the friend said to him, you know, billions of dollars in coins are exchanged each year in the United States. Next morning he sat up in bed and said, wait a minute, maybe we could capture some of those coins and give it to research. So that's how that came about. And we are a separate 501c3 registered in the state of North Carolina, and we're supported by more than 500 Rotary clubs, and now it says 31 districts, but it's over that now in the United States. We're a founding member of the Alzheimer's Dementia Rotary Action Group. The board of directors includes 2 voting members from each district. The incoming district governor, Ron Pierce, the next year, and the district card chair. The online donor portal, which came out about 2 years ago, I would recommend anybody go there and take a look at that, because you can make a one-time donation. You can make it in memory of a person in your life that maybe has Alzheimer's. Or you can join the Roger Ackerman Circle, which is when you sign up for recurring donations, which I've done and several other members in the district have done. And I already mentioned TRAC, so you know what that is. And the national website for branding and collateral materials is cartfund.org. So what are we going to do? We're going to continue our original mission of 100% of donations going to research. This year, I heard yesterday from Tiffany Irving, who's the executive director, that we look like we're going to be donating $1.5 million this year in grants, which I'll have the privilege of being in May down in Columbia, South Carolina. As of last year, we had awarded $11.6 million through 66 different grants. And you can see who they went to up on cartfund.org under resources up there. And what it really is it provides seed grants. Many of these people that we funded over the years went down a road no one else has in research. And a year later or 2 years later, they get grants from the National Institutes for Health and other organizations. So in April 1999, the first grant was awarded to Dr. Alan Levy of Emory University, who is now the chair of the selection committee. July and August of every year, we get applications for grants from CART. So when they're awarded a grant, we just don't give them a check and say, hey, have fun. No, we put a little accountability in it. We give them 25% of the money up front. 8 months later, they got to give us a report on how things are going, progress report. We give them another 25%. So forth, 8 months later, 8 months later, till they finish. So in July of 2000,
$600,000. 2019, 6 grants awarded, 1 million for the first time. You notice there's no 20, 21, or 22. What happened? COVID-19, right. But in 2023, we did have 3 researchers that get grants, and I'll show them to you later. I'm not going to read all this stuff to you. These are some of the testimonials from researchers. But let me ask you a question here. How many people here watch 60 Minutes? Anybody? Let me tell you. January 14th, 60 Minutes had a module on Alzheimer's. And you know, there's 2 proteins that are in the brain. And they did what used focused ultrasound. This researcher, who's a neurosurgeon at the University of West Virginia, 20 years ago, used focused ultrasound to open a thing called the brain-blood barrier. Any medical people in the room? Okay. The brain-blood barrier protects your brain from foreign entities entering and causing harm. It also prevents beneficial things from entering your brain and causing good. He found out 20 years ago that by focusing ultrasound on a specific place of the skull, you could open the brain-blood barrier. He put a probe in that patient's brain to stop Parkinson's tremors. So, last year he said, well, you know, that might work with Alzheimer's. You know, there's a couple of new drugs in the last couple of years that have been approved. They don't stop Alzheimer's. They delay the progress by 6 months. 18-month program, 2 infusions a month, at a cost of $26,500 for those drugs. So what he did, and this is in that segment, which you can find on YouTube, if you look for focus ultrasound and Alzheimer's, that segment from 60 Minutes is up there. They put a helmet device on this fellow's head, opened a specific point about the size of a pencil point on his brain, the blood-brain barrier. And since he had the drugs put in his bloodstream earlier that day, it navigated through the bloodstream, through the opening in the brain-blood barrier, and it dissolved the amyloid plaques. Now, once brain cells die, they don't regenerate, okay? But the brain has an amazing ability to rewire itself. So they kept going to different points in the brain. They did an MRI so they knew where the plaques were in his brain. And they kept doing this, a series of treatments. And this man, who's in stage 2 Alzheimer's, he was doing pretty well, him and his wife. So I encourage you to take a look at that. Progress is being made, albeit slowly. That's much more interesting, but that's okay. So, okay, here. All right. This slide is a mistake because the guy on the right wasn't there. Now it's listed as he got the grant, but there was a little Chinese lady here because I was there. And the guy on the left, he's from France, delightful French accent. And he works at the Cleveland Clinic. And the guy in the middle is from India, and he works at the University of South Florida. And there was a lady on the right, gave a wonderful presentation, but no one in the room understood a word of what she said. Because her English, if you ever talk to support in the Philippines or India, yeah, it was like that, you know. So, but she got the grant, she did a nice presentation, and everything on the screen was in English, so we could at least read it. So, last year, we were on the cover of Rotary magazine. I want to call him the Rotarian, I just can't get over to call him Rotary magazine. But Rotary magazine in May. How that came about was Norm Rogers, who stepped down at the end of December as the area CART chair, who I reported to, was at an international conference, and the editor of Rotary magazine came by in the House of Friendship and saw the CART display. And he asked Norm to explain what this was all about. So Norm did. So they put us in the middle of the CART of the Rotary magazine, and we were on the cover.
later, a Rotarian in Salisbury made an anonymous donation of $1 million to Carton. That's the impact that that kind of thing can have. So we exceeded $2 million in 2022-23. We're on schedule to do that again this year. So what's next? We want to expand the recurring giving program, the Ryder Acumen Circle. And those of us that have had personal experience with the disease are perfect candidates to be two things: recurring donor and CARP champions if Joseph decides to do that program. Okay. You're going to see the coin boxes that I came up with, and many clubs over the country have contacted me over the last several years, and they're using that program. Because the general public will drop coins and bills in those coin boxes. Of course, we have a digital presence. You can find us online, Facebook, and we're there. Matter of fact, your acting president for today's meeting, and Joseph and I will have a picture taken in front of your banner over here, and I'll post it on Facebook before I go to the beach today. And of course, we're on Twitter X and YouTube. We have a huge presence on YouTube. We have a monthly Zoom meeting where researchers that we funded in the past do a Zoom meeting, explain how things are going with the research that we started with them. Very worthwhile seeing. And then, of course, we have our website. I need to turn the volume up on TV or something. I guess I'll just stop it.
It was right there by,
Is it back here?
oh, it was right there on.
I'll have to get to that screen again. Okay. I should have tested that. I didn't.
Just one can make a difference. There's no better example of the power of one than the partner. One man, Roger Atkins, back in 1996, had a crazy idea that if enough of his friends at the Sumter Rotary Club would donate their pocket change at lunch every week, maybe, just maybe, they could help find a cure for Alzheimer's disease.
Sounds crazy, right? But those Rotarians in South Carolina, along with thousands more like them, have raised millions of dollars in cutting-edge research grants. All because one man said, I have an idea.
Today, the partner, Points for Alzheimer's Research Trust, still maintains the same traditions, values, and intentions of our late founder, Roger Atkins. 100% of every donation is distributed via grants to recognized research institutions across the U.S. Facilities like Harvard, Emory, Washington University in St. Louis, University of Pennsylvania, the Mayo Clinic, Johns Hopkins, and more than 50 others.
What began by throwing spare change into little blue buckets during Rotary Lunch Club meetings has now grown into collections by local businesses, innovative fundraisers, matching gifts, and in 2020, an online donor portal that accepts donations from anyone, anywhere in the world.
Led by a part-time executive director and a volunteer board of trustees, CARP is a 501c3 organization recognized and supported by 23 Rotary districts in the U.S. A distinguished scientific research panel reviews the annual grant submissions and recommends awards based on the amount of money raised during the preceding year. In 2021, CARP awarded $1 million in research grants for the third consecutive year. bringing the grand total to more than $10 million in the organization's short history. Research findings supported by CART grants have jump-started millions more in federal funding from organizations like National Institute of Health and the Alzheimer's Association. Previous recipients have demonstrated that initial results from their CART grants have opened the door to critical discoveries around topics like tau tangles and amyloid proteins.
You can read more from some of the CART's distinguished researchers and see a complete list of grant recipients by visiting us online at cartfund.org.
Many Rotary clubs around the country now host coin drops to visually recognize the power of collecting change. But organizers remind us the C in CART can also represent cash, checks, and credit cards. Some clubs participate in friendly competitions with neighboring clubs. Some secure matching donations each month. And some have implemented their own unique fundraisers, such as benefit concerts, a Smash Alzheimer's initiative, a go-kart race, a 0K, and most recently, the world's largest golf cart parade.
Thanks to a diligent volunteer base who all share the same passion to find a cure for this dreaded disease, CART Fund continues to grow in both public awareness and fundraising efforts. But there's always room for one more person and one more crazy idea.
To learn more about topics such as planned giving, public relations, or advocacy, or to make a tax-deductible contribution, visit cartfund.org. To join our email list, or if you'd like to share your Alzheimer's story, email us today at cartfundnews@gmail.com.
With your help, we are confident we can find a cure for Alzheimer's. After all, it only takes one person to make a difference. Will you be that person?
You heard her mention a 0K race. Let me tell you about that. January of last year. Thank you. January of last year, we had a 19-year-old join our Rotary Club. I played golf with his grandfather for years, and his father was on the board of directors with me when I was chairman of the board of the chamber. And his very first meeting in January, I was doing a cart presentation. He comes up to me afterwards, and he says, I'd like to do a fundraiser for CART. His name is Dalton Putnam. I said, okay, Dalton, what do you got in mind? He said, I want to do a 0K race. All right, how does that work? Well, we charge $50 a head. And we have a start and finish line at the same place in a local group club. And the only place they run is the bathroom in the back and make room for more beer. I said, okay, have fun with that. He pays $1,200. And it blew me away. So there's no dumb ideas, they're just different ideas. And, you know, we have cart chairs throughout the district right now. I believe I've got 21 cart chairs assigned out of 49 clubs. And if you come up with something unique, by all means, you know, and I'll share it with the rest of the cart chairs. Just like you saw the coin boxes, right? That's not a hard program, and that gets the general public involved in raising money that this club gets credit for. Because I have a volunteer staff of 6 Rotarians in our club that are assigned different locations. I go to 5 of them every 2 weeks, collect the money. My wife, God bless her, I had to buy her a coin counting machine. She does all of the counting, and I make the deposit into our bank account for CART at the club. So if anybody's interested in any kind of program like that, or a 0K race, let me know. Now, Dalton's reward for being so inventive is he's now according to a cart chair. Co-chair. I'm going to turn it over to next year. With that, I'm going to open it up for any questions. Yes, sir. Come on up here so they can hear you.
They can hear me.
Okay.
So I have been a long-time supporter of CART. Every year I make a donation. My mother passed from the ravages of Alzheimer's, and it's an issue that's very close to me. Mm-hmm. So today, I am going to challenge the club to a match up to $1,000. And so put your money in the buckets and we'll see how we do.
All right. Let me tell you about that, because last year, Bobby Bain,
who's the card chair at the Greensboro Club, did the same thing. And said, I'll match up to $5,000 in donations. They raised $5,000 and the club kicked in another $20,000. And last year they gave $30,000 to card. Last year in this district, I was telling Joseph about this, we recorded 5 out of 49 clubs that did anything with card, for a total of $48,000. Greensboro did 30, Cartersville did 9, Thomasville did 45, and then a little bit for the other 2. So what I'm trying to do this year is resurrect the program, because this is a great program. There is no other organization I know of, not the National Alzheimer Association, not the Rotary Foundation, any of them that gives 100% of donations to the cause. There's always an administrative cost in there. That's what makes this different. That's what makes this worthwhile. That's why I deserve your support. And Joseph, as card chair for the last 2 years, I look forward to seeing great results from Thomasville that's done here. Yes, sir.
Well, I did. We have in the past started Art for Park and had a day of Saturday where people came and painted.
Norm Rogers was running that program, Cars for Car. Art for Car. Okay, I couldn't understand it. My hearing battery just went bad. But Norm Rogers did Cars for Cars. And for 3 years, if you was $100 a ticket and you got a 2-year lease of the car of your choice for $20,000, that worked out pretty well. That was the track, by the way. And how did yours work out, Art for Car?
Well, what we did was people paid to come, of course, and we had several other artists at my gallery, and we had set up for about 30 people. And, well, they come in and we have champagne and mimosas in the morning, and then we have them paint a painting that we've decided on would be easy for people to do.
Good.
And they copy that painting, so they got their painting to take home.
Well, you know, there's other stuff. Do that again. That's great. Matter of fact, Joseph, if you'd send me some information on that, I'd like to share that with the other clubs. Yes, sir, ma'am.
I just want to remind the club members, in the cart bucket, there's a piece of paper that you can put down that you want money to go to carts, and hope will bill you. That's my favorite expression.
What was that?
We have a paper showing Christian in the cart bucket, and you can donate money to carts today, and hope will bill you.
Okay, you can do that, and that's going to go into your club treasurer, and she'll include that. So if you're going to write a check like that, you make it out to the Rotary Club of Thomasville, and in the memo line you put card. That's the proper way to do that. Then she runs an accrual, and once a quarter she'll be transferring that to EFT, or you can go to www.mycartfund.org and do it there yourself. Any other questions? Okay, I guess we're done.
Thanks, Tom, for presenting on that. I know it hits home for so many of us with Alzheimer's research and certainly hearing the stories and grant recipients, etc. What I would say is one of the things that I just thought of while we were there, and I think it'd be easy to do, is just if everybody just bring just a dollar club Wednesday, and whenever you come to Rotary, just bring $1 and drop it in like a toll booth, and maybe Kim won't check you off for lunch till you put your $1 in the bucket. But if you average even 40 people a week, and everybody brings $1, there's $160 a month, and times 12, and it keeps on going. So that could be just an easy way, but I don't mind this zero K option either. There's a lot of them. So, if you will, at this time, go ahead and stand with me before we test. As always, one more time, it's a super happy birthday to Joe and Beth. Blessings on another great year, and keep Mary Jane and her family in your thoughts and prayers, and say health for her granddaughter. But as we go out of here today, especially given the information Tom shared with us, and thinking of the impact we can have on others around us when we interact with people, let's ask ourselves these things. First, is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned?